Друзья, всем привет! Сегодня книжный клуб. Очередной книжный клуб по воскресеньям с 15 до 16. С вами Алан Ягодин и программа DreamTeam. Или, как еще можно мне назвать, Confused Crow. Там и музыка под этим названием скрывается, там и скрываются разборы и видеоэссе, а также книжный клуб и подкасты. Привет всем! Рад вас здесь видеть, рад слышать. Надеюсь, меня слышно. Надеюсь, меня будет видно даже. Но не здесь, потому что... Не здесь, в смысле, не в Дискорде, а на Ютубе, потому что Дискорд не позволяет мне запускать так много программ одновременно. Как ваши дела, друзья? Какие у вас новости? Нет, я не буду спрашивать, какие у вас новости. Вы сейчас мне расскажете о плохих новостях. Я не буду вас этим вопросом задаваться, и прошу вас отвлечься сегодня вместе со мной. Поговорим по-английски. Сегодня у нас два очень интересных вопроса, на которые я бы хотел, чтобы мы с вами нашли что-то вроде ответа. Говорю что-то вроде, потому что вопрос действительно сложный. Первый вопрос звучит так. On the basis of these past accomplishments, consider the similarities between Martian and human civilizations. На наших прошлых достижениях, предыдущих, подумайте над тем, какие схожие вещи нас связывают с марсианской жизнью и с марсианской человеческой цивилизацией. Да? В прошлый раз мы рассматривали то, как живут марсиане, точнее, как жили. Призраки их все еще, по крайней мере, так кажется, что они все еще бродят среди нас где-то на Марсе. И семья Биттерингов, которая оказалась на Марсе в рассказе, и были они смуглые и золотоглазые, им предстоит узнать, где же эти марсиане. Но для начала вопрос к уважаемым знатокам. Сегодня у нас в гостях кто будет говорить? Ксюша, Руслан
Hello.
Hello. Будем говорить по-английски. Да, если вы не против, все готовы к этому. Взбодрились, встрепенулись, попробуем поговорить. Alright, friends, tell me, what do you think? What are the similarities between Martian and human civilizations? Who is brave to answer such a question? Trivial, but great, nevertheless.
Okay, let me try.
Come on, spit it out.
Actually, I think it is a hard question, because we don't know much about Martian civilization. So we know that they had built the cities under the deep dome of Martian sky. We also have presumed that they not only lived in the cities, but around them, in the meadows and on the banks of the rivers. So they had the same urge to move out from the cities, busy streets, and enjoy nature on Mars. They gave names to the cities, hills and mountains. So they were not so different from our way of thinking. They also lived by names and labels. Because of that, we can presume that they didn't went to space, because there were no signs of Martians on Earth. So maybe we were different in the ways of reproduction, and they didn't need to expand their civilization on the other planets like Earthlings do. I think this is main difference based on what we know right now.
It's more than enough. Ruslan, thank you very much for such a thoughtful answer. Let's check the vocabulary that Ruslan used. Давайте проверим, какой Руслан использовал вокабуляр, потому что это было действительно великолепно. Руслан использовал фразу из книги They lived under the dome, the Martian dome, да? Жили под этим марсианским куполом. Не имеется в виду в прямом значении, но под марсианским небом они действительно жили. They had an urge, то есть у них было стремление, я, пожалуй, даже сейчас начну записывать, а то я имею тенденцию все забывать. Так, Martian dome. Записываю все это в документ, которым я с вами делюсь, который все желающие могут посмотреть позже. Потом, they had an urge to move from busy cities. Руслан, я прав, да? Busy cities to the natural...
It is busy streets.
Busy streets. Ага, busy streets. И ты там как-то красиво завернул по поводу того, что они в более такую естественную среду вернулись, типа в деревню переехали.
Did not enjoy the nature of Mars.
Угу.
That's all.
To enjoy the nature of Mars. Отлично. Значит, если я не ошибаюсь, было еще классное выражение. Сейчас я проставлю циферки какие-то у нас есть. Напишу это vocabulary на сегодня. Vocabulary. 16th, 10th. Так, там еще было интересно по поводу того, что they had labels and names. They named their cities, just like us. Правильно все, Руслан?
Yes.
Отлично. То есть у них были наименования, да, label. Знаете, что такое? Это, например, care label, это бирка, да, у рубашки, например, моей есть care label, у джинс, там, у всего, у одежды. Ну, то есть они давали названия, имена, включая то, что они давали названия, имена городам, в которых они жили. Тут пришли люди, да, и они, естественно, будут заниматься тем же самым. То есть в этом нашей схожести с марсианами. Так, в принципе, все. Руслан, спасибо тебе еще раз большое. Отличный ответ. Ксюша, что ты нам сегодня расскажешь про similarities between Martian and human civilizations?
Hello again. A hard question, because all we know from this tale that the architect in Mars was tumbles, and so I guess that the humans or people or just creature on Mars, they were maybe the same like we, because they were they had an air, a nature, a sea, and other infrastructure. So they had a good nature, and they had there was enough civilization, but in some time everything is gone, and there were no the human alive or not human or creature. So we know nothing about the creatures which lived there before the Earth people come there. So I guess that it was maybe the something like catastrophe.
Catastrophic, yeah, it was a calamity.
Catastrophic something. Maybe it was maybe it was the reason in these creatures. So in the technique or something like this, like atomic bomb, maybe in the war, the reason maybe it's just was something like the volcanoes, or I don't know, acid rains or something like this, which doesn't depend from the creatures who lived in Mars. So maybe this is the same. So
good answer.
I think.
Yeah, good. I mean, it's a very good and how you explained it.
In Russian, it's the same hard. So I just try to catch.
It's a tough question.
The idea, but it's hard.
You caught the idea. You caught the idea that, and Ruslan caught the idea as well. At least how I feel about that. That maybe there was some volcanic eruption, volcanic activity, as you said, acid rains. Maybe it was because the Martians, Ruslan mentioned that probably they didn't develop into this galactic civilization, right? Or space civilization, let's say, not the galactic one, but the space one. There is a scientist, a Soviet scientist, Nikolai Kordashev. He created a concept. Not only, I assume that it was not only him who did it, but the concept is that we have tiers, not like tears from the eyes, but we have tiers of civilization tiers. For instance, humans are coming close to be space explorers, Mars colonization. We try to see the deep space and understand it. So once we gather enough resources and information, we will dare, and I think that we are going to dare, to travel and to settle down on Mars. So there is a possibility. And probably this Martian civilization, they used to be the same, let's say, pioneers of space exploration. Something might have happened, like an atomic bomb that fell, or volcanic eruption, as you mentioned. And that may have caused the calamity, as we said, the catastrophe that happened on Mars. Thank you, both of you. Итак, спасибо вам большое за то, что поделились. Настя, ты будешь говорить сегодня или ты будешь хранить молчание?
Я немножко занята, но я могу тоже дать какой-то короткий ответ.
Yeah, sure thing, please.
I thought this... Можно еще раз какой вопрос по-английски звучит?
Конечно, сейчас. The question in English sounds like, on the basis of these past accomplishments, consider the similarities between Martian and human civilizations. What is similar about us and Martians in the story?
I think the similarities of to these planets on these actually moments that we see on the book is the people. People try to colonize the first planet and try to replace to another planet, like they do it on their own planet too. It's a new conqueror. Yeah,
it's a conquest. So
yes.
They are conquerors. It's a conquest,
yeah.
And they plan to colonize, as they did with Earth. So you think Martians were colonizing too? So they were expansionists.
Yes, that's my thought.
Excellent thoughts. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your attention and that you came here and you talked about this. It's very interesting to listen to you. Let's discuss some vocabulary once again for those who listen, because they can't see what I see right now. Итак, давайте обсудим вокабуляр, да, который мы сегодня использовали, новые слова, которые мы выучили и рассмотрели. Ксюша, спасибо тебе, что использовала новое слово tumble. Есть crumble and tumble, да, crumble. Tumble — это рушится, да, то есть там ты сказал, что архитектура на Марсе, она вот такая вся разрушенная.
Упадок такая, да, то есть типа того.
Да, только...
Это, кстати, цитата из книжки тоже.
Да, отлично, очень здорово. И Руслан тоже использует цитату из книги по поводу dome, да. Молодцы, используйте. Чем больше вы берете из книг, из рассказов, да, и начать использовать, чем чаще вы это делаете, тем нативнее для вас это звучит, то есть тем понятнее для вас звучит, и это становится не просто какой-то фразой в воздухе, да, это становится вашей фразой, вашей репликой. То есть architecture on Mars was stumbled. Ты сказала architects, ну ладно, типа архитекторы на Марсе, они какие-то покоцанные, крошатся. Архитектура, architecture. Architects — это у нас Настя здесь сегодня присутствующая. They were civilized, да, everything is gone. Да, ничего, это просто прикольно, типа архитекторы, они там крошатся на Марсе. Архитектура. Да, they were civilized. Ты очень здорово используешь пассивный залог, вообще отлично то, что ты говоришь, they were civilized, everything is gone, все ушло, да, но они были такие же цивилизованные, все это прошло. То есть мы уже не видим вот эту цивилизацию минувшую. Catastrophic, да, у нас слово catastrophe было, и catastrophic event, например, можно сказать. Я еще использую слово calamity, что в принципе означает тоже какую-то катастрофу, связанную с тем, что жизни забирает эта катастрофа. Как это еще правильно выразиться? В общем, calamity тоже в этом, мне кажется, в этом контексте хорошо бы подошло вместе с catastrophic. Volcanic activity. Там еще было volcanic eruptions. Volcanic eruptions. Извержение. Eruptions. Acid rains. Ксюша тоже молодец, использовала классное выражение. Эти дожди, эти самые, да, которые кислотные, которые выпадают, могут выпадать, в том числе по причине того, что произошла какая-то ядерная катастрофа. И после этой катастрофы выпадают дожди подобные, что плохо сказывается на всех. People try to... Настя, ты здорово использовал фразу, то, что Martians, they were... я сказал expansionists, да, а ты то, что они they tried to conquer, они пытались завоевать. То есть conquer — классный глагол, to conquer. Мы еще использовали expansionists и conquest у нас еще было, да? Conquest, expansionists. И conquest у нас было это завоевание, это существительное. И ты сказал то, что people try to colonize and replace their own home with somebody else's. То есть люди колонизируют и пытаются заменить свой дом на чей-то еще. Тоже очень интересная мысль, тоже то, что нас связывает с марсианами. Возможно, мы как бы предполагаем здесь, да, но то, что марсиане, у них были когда-то эти улочки, на которых кипела жизнь, и потом что-то случилось, да, их теперь нет. Спасибо вам еще раз, надеюсь, было интересно, полезно, и мы переходим к чтению. Сейчас я поделюсь экраном своим, и мы продолжим читать вместе с вами. Кто бы из вас сколько ни прочел, задачи читать дальше не было, я ее такую не ставил. Но если вы прочли дальше, то здорово. А если нет, тоже здорово, потому что мы сейчас будем более детально, подробно разбирать то, что там случилось. Значит, мы обсуждали вопрос про атомную бомбу. Не переживайте, он будет в самом конце. Мы сейчас разогрелись, теперь мы будем разгоняться дальше. Будем читать по-английски и стараться как можно меньше говорить по-русски. Не потому, что мы не любим русский, а потому, что нам просто интересно попрактиковать другой язык для нас, да? Поэтому, поехали. Сейчас мы почитаем. Мы остановились на моменте... wandered often the garden. Да, значит, in the following days, Bittering wandered often through the garden to stand alone in his fear. Биттering самый мужественный, да, самый, потому что он не только потому, что он мужчина, а потому что он чувствует ответственность за то, что он привез свою семью сюда. И теперь семья не может улететь, потому что произошли атомные взрывы, и Нью-Йорк был уничтожен. Космические корабли больше сюда не летают. Он часто бродил по саду и стоял в страхе, да, был окутан страхом. Итак, прочли мы чуть-чуть дальше по поводу The Web Gun. Помните, в прошлый раз мы разговаривали про то, что корабли, они словно паутиной, такой серебряный проходили, да. Had spun a silver web across space. Они сплели серебряную паутину по космосу, да, то есть мы стали, как я говорил, по Кардашеву, там 4 вида цивилизации есть. Первое — это как раз то, кем мы сегодня являемся. Мы стремимся очень к первой, да, хотим колонизировать. Дальше там еще есть 3 остальных вида, но это уже там, включая галактическое завоевание, то есть мы галактику всю завоевываем. Итак, значит, мы про это прошли, поговорили, переходим к английскому. What would happen to him, the others? This was the moment Mars had waited for. Now it would eat them. Ruslan, please, you start first.
He got down on his knees in the flower bed, a spade in his nervous hands. Work, he thought, work and forget. He glanced up from the garden to the Martian mountains. He thought of the proud old Martian names that had once been on those peaks. Earthmen, dropping from the sky, had gazed upon hills, rivers, Martian seats left nameless in spite of names. Once Martians had built cities, named cities, climbed mountains, named mountains, built seas, named seas. Mountains melted, seas drained, cities crumbled. In spite of this, the Earthmen have felt a silent guilt at putting new names to these ancient hills and valleys. Nevertheless, man lives by symbol and label. The names were given. Mr. Pittering felt very alone in his garden under the Martian sun. Anachronism bent here, planting earth flowers in a wild soil. Think, keep thinking different things. Keep your mind free of earth, the atom war, the lost rockets.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wonderfully well read. Wonderful. Thank you. Ksusha, let's read the next part.
Так. He perspired. He glanced about. No one watching. He removed his tie. Pretty...
Yeah, sure thing.
Thanks. So he removed his tie. Pretty bold, he thought. First you coat off, now you tie. He hung it neatly on a peach tree he had imported as a sapling from Massachusetts. He returned to his philosophy of names and mountains. The Earthmen had changed names. Now there were Normal Valleys, Roosevelt Seas, Fort Hills, Vanderbilt Plateaus, I'm sorry, Rockefeller's rivers on Mars. It wasn't right. The American settlers had shown wisdom, using old Indian prairie names. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Idaho, Ohio, Utah, Milwaukee, Wakegan, Oseo, the old names, the old meanings. The old names, the old meanings. Staring at the mountains wildly, he thought, "Are you up there? All the dead ones, you Martians. Well, here we are, alone, cut off. Come down, move us up. You are helpless." We are helpless.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
It's a big difference, right? If he said you are helpless, it's one thing. So we
are helpless.
Yeah, it's like us. We're here. Only thousands of us. Yeah, we are helpless here in this place. Thank you very much. Nastya, should I bother you with this, or you would just listen and enjoy?
I guess I can.
You can read. Oh, excellent.
Yeah. The wind blew a shower of peach blossoms. He put out his sun-browned hand and gave a small cry. He touched the blossoms and picked them up. He turned them. He touched them again and again. Then he shouted for his wife, "Cora!" She appeared at the window. He ran to her.
Let's see the picture. Fantastic.
"Cora, these blossoms." She handled them. Do you see? They're different. They're changed. They are not peach blossoms anymore. Look all right to me, she said. They are not. They're wrong. You can tell how an extra petal, a leaf, something, the color, the smell. The children ran out in time to see their father hurrying about the garden, holding up radishes, onions, and carrots from their beds. "Cora, come, look." They handle the onions, the radishes, the carrots among them. Though they look like carrots, yes, no. She hesitated. I don't know. They're changing, perhaps.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for reading this. Let's scout the vocabulary. Vocabulary. Gosh. I'm desperate to pronounce some things in English. But sometimes I can't do that. He got down on his knees in the flower bed. Shall we discuss some things in Russian? Or are you comfortable in discussing them in English? Comfortable? Not comfortable? 1, 2, 3.
English is okay.
English is okay.
Mhm.
Ksusha, English is okay, right?
Right.
Right. Nastya, is everything ok? Okay. We'll try. So he got on his knees in the flower bed. Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. Flower bed. A spade in his nervous hands. What is a spade? Maybe somebody knows a song that sings about
There's no song, it's like a small gardening tool to dig holes.
Right, and spade has a different meaning. There is in cards, and there is a song by, I think it's Motorhead, Ace of Spades. Check this out, it's an interesting song. And there are like various different covers made as an homage to this song. It's quite famous actually. Spade is, gosh, you know the cards, right? And there are 4 different, how can I explain this? I can't explain this since I don't gamble, I don't play card games. But so spade is one of the symbols that is depicted on the card. It's called spade. You can Google that and see. In his nervous hand. Yeah, spade also is a gardening tool, as you said. Excellent. Work, he thought, work and forget. He glanced up from the garden to the Martian mountains. He thought of the proud old Martian names that had once been on those peaks. So when we talk about mountains, there is a peak, mountain peak. Like in the show Twin Peaks, about coffee and mystery. Mountain peak. Earthman dropping from the sky. That is, once again, quite poetic. Dropping from the sky. Like jumping, like they are jumping, coming on their silver rockets. Had gazed upon the hills, rivers. Ksusha, what is a gaze in English? You can Google that.
Sorry, just a second. I have February. Try to find this word because I write it. Just a second. I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's all right. Take your time.
I just can I just say something?
Yeah,
I
sure.
find the few phrases which very interesting because I haven't heard it before. It's glanced up. Just look. It's like looking in the sky or something like this. Just look up and gazed upon. Yes, just almost the same. He looked around and in the skies. It's. Am I right?
Yeah, it's
Gazed
correct.
upon.
Yeah,
Yes.
gaze is more like
Обозревать, вот типа
right.
смотреть.
So it's like observe,
around.
and when you look very attentively, when you look very carefully,
I see.
yeah, and you narrow your eyes to have a better look. So it's what is called gaze upon. Hills and rivers.
Glanced up is almost the same. Just look on the sky or something like this.
Yeah, it's like,
Смотреть наверх, да.
I think you've seen the movie Don't Look Up.
I don't remember.
It's with Leo
Little
DiCaprio.
fish. I can't remember
No,
the
no.
name of the films.
It's a myth that fishes can't remember much. And you are not a fish, definitely. You remember quite a
I'm a
lot.
dolphin. Okay, sorry.
Never doubt. Never hesitate. That is the word of today. So yeah, glanced up means to look up. Don't Look Up is a movie about a catastrophe with Leo DiCaprio and a bunch of other actors that I barely remember now. But it's an interesting movie. Anyway, there is a phrase: "Mountains melted, seas drained, cities stumbled." In spite of this, the Earthmen had left a silent guilt. Felt a silent guilt at putting new names. How do you feel when you... No, the first question to Anastasia, can you talk to us right now? Yeah, I'm sorry for asking this again and again because you said that you're going to work. Why do you think we give names to things? Like we give names to the mountains, we give names to the valleys, to the mountain peaks. We say
To be orientated in the space.
right. So for orientation, for navigation, to understand where we are, and like how to explain to people where you are right now, you can say like a name of a mountain or of a country. Why do people, you think, change names when one tribe or nation comes to a city? They're like, it doesn't sound like a good name, let's change it. Why do people change names when they conquer? You use the word conquer, and I'm going to use that quite often right now, since I remembered it.
Maybe they have not enough words in their language.
One of the reasons, I doubt that actually. Maybe it's the... So, Earthmen here, they felt a silent guilt in putting new names. Like they came to the places, and the places were named. Maybe they found tablets, right, or manuscripts from old Martian lives, and they saw that the names were given already, but they still felt guilty for giving new names. Why do you think they feel guilty?
Maybe
I
they
don't know.
didn't want to conquer Mars. Maybe they will, if the Martian civilization still exists, maybe they try to become friends with them, try to communicate with them. And when you give a new name to the thing that already named, it's like conquer. You label it your property.
That's...
I hope.
Yeah, that's a very interesting idea. Good point that we actually give names to something, we label things because it's a part of our language, maybe language conquest, right? So because we want our language to be dominant. Americans, and there was an example here, Ksyusha, I want to thank you, both of you, Anastasia, thank you for... It's fine. I'm asking difficult. You can ask me. Yeah, sure, please.
To erase the culture that was before.
Good point. To erase the culture that used to be before, to erase all the mentions of the culture, of the peoples who lived here. It's a horrible, terrible thought. It's a horrible deed and act. I shouldn't call it a deed. It's an act, a violent act of wiping the name out of history, clearing the name. So that is, I think that these things might be the reason why they felt guilty. They didn't want to be enemies with Martians, and at the same time they're like erasing their history, erasing Martians' history on Mars. Ksyusha, I have a question for you too.
Thanks.
You,
I think they. I saw the same question. About
you can answer the same question. If it's interesting, you can
Yes.
answer. We talk, communicate.
I think they feel guilty because when they arrived to Mars. So it wasn't the wild nature, it was civilized, but the something destroyed everything, even insects, and they feel guilty about the history, because the history is circle, as we know, and they come from the Earth, and on the Earth there are atomic catastrophe, and everything may be gone, maybe not. They don't know about it, but it's tragedy, and I think they felt guilty because they're afraid that the history will be the same. So their life will destroy it. They will destroy their life themselves. Maybe their children or children of their children. So maybe they feel that the same will be. They feel that everything is gone, and nobody remembered even the language. So maybe other creatures, when they come to Mars, so they can't understand what's happened and who live there and what they are doing here. So they're afraid
Of the repetition, of the oblivion, the oblivion.
Oblivion, yeah.
You remember in Harry Potter there was in
Yeah,
the second one, Obliviate. Yeah, there was a professor who actually, Oblivion, who actually he's gone crazy. At least what I remember. It's a very good point. Once again, 3 different points, and all have value. And I do mean that, because it's when you come to a new territory, like there was an example with Indian words, Old Indian. Bittering thinks that it wasn't right because the American settlers had shown wisdom using Old Indian prairie names. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Idaho, Ohio, Utah. So they used the names of the peoples who lived there. They used the words. I don't know the what was behind them, because we can't take a look. We can't glance in the past. We can't see what they were thinking. Still, it's Bittering thinks that this is a very interesting idea, that we came here and we erased all the names, and it was wrong. It was not a good idea at all. In the past, our ancestors did something different, still with many trepidations and trials and troubles and problems, not only towards the locals who used to live there, but I mean, they all mixed together, and now they have to solve all these various problems together. Still, it's, as I've heard, it's very difficult, and it used to be way more difficult for people who originally settled there, the tribes. The old names, the old meanings. Anyway, let's not touch the history, and I started touching the history very gently. Staring at the mountains wildly, he thought, "Are you up there, all the dead ones, you Martians? Well, here we are, alone, cut off." Let's see the phrase here. "Come down, move us out." Another phrase, "We are helpless." Why is he screaming such a phrase? Anastasia, what do you think? Cut off. Move us out, we're helpless. Why does he want Martians to come and to physically destroy them, or just, move them to another territory?
Maybe he thought that they can't do it, and they don't want to contact with people, because they are more high civilized than the people who come from the earth. So maybe he hoped that they the merchants will help them.
Mm-hmm. Maybe will help. Maybe they are advanced and they will like find a solution for their problems and their troubles. We always seek for guidance, and it's in our nature to be to follow the rules, and we created the rules, of course, because of we want to have a system, and it's fine to have a system. Otherwise, we will be in the caves right now, right? But it's interesting how he screams, he shouts, and then something happens. Anastasia, do you have some ideas about that? Do you understand what happened, by the way, with the flowers? I think
Yes, I understand.
Can you tell us what you think about the flowers blooming and something happened to the flowers actually here?
He just saw that all that they bring to the Mars from Earth changing.
Mm-hmm.
Extra petal, I don't know what is it. Petal.
Petal, yeah, it's a petal is a leaf, not a leaf, but like on top of a flower, the actual flower, you have a petal. It's there is a leaf, something, the color, the smell changed, and
all the structure of plants changes.
And he noticed that right after he screams, "We are helpless, like come and move us out of here." And the flowers started to change. Or maybe he didn't even notice that they changed due to the...
I think he didn't notice it before.
Yeah, because they were busy thinking about their lives and their future.
He started insane.
Going insane, yeah. There is panic too. He starts panicking. He shouted to his wife. There were some of the cultural references. Anachronism, something placed outside of its proper time period, and Roosevelt most likely refers to Franklin Roosevelt, the 32nd president of the United States, and Hormel, Ford, Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, names of industrial and financial giants in American history. So the places were named after them. About the flowers, Ruslan, what do you think? That the flowers, after the plea of bickering, he said it, "Come, move us out of here." The flowers, he noticed that the flowers are different. How do you think they feel about the transformation, the mutations that the flowers are changing, the fruits, the vegetables are changing?
Well, they feel in danger because the same can happen to his family, to him, and he can't even notice it and articulate what is changing. Something is changed, but he is not sure what is it.
That's actually frightening. And thank you for your ideas and your thoughts. That's frightening. You see that the things that you know, and you know when you say peach, you know how it looks like, and suddenly the peach becomes different, the tree becomes different, and you're like, what the heck is going on? It's not the peach. And this fear of uncanny, something that we can't understand, is for the horror genre is one of the most intriguing, because in some of the Japanese, if you've seen Japanese horror movies, they use this, with ghosts, and the ghosts, they behave like humans. Still, something is amiss, something is different. Or here, typical when you say peach, and you can all imagine a peach, but the flower is different, the petals are different, the color and the smell is different. What's going on? Let's read a little bit more and finish with our question, maybe discuss something more too. something the color smell. Ksusha, could you please give it a read?
They have onions, but not onions, carrots, but not carrots. Taste, the same, but different. Smell, not like it used to be. He felt his heart pounding and he was afraid. He dug his fingers into the earth. Cora, what's happening? What is it? We have got to get away from this. He ran across the garden. Each tree felt his touch. The roses, they are turning green.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Welcome.
And this little part, Ksusha, what do you think? Think of what you know about plants. Do you think it's possible for plants to change like they do in the story, or it's purely imaginary? So do you think it's him going crazy and the whole family is going crazy, or is it something really like a metamorphosis, mutation that changes the plants?
I think it's both. So the nature changing their usual plans and even their bodies. And I think maybe it's type of hallucinate, maybe because the smell and the colors and the taste, everything changed. So maybe he was so nervous that it maybe kind of nervous.
Neuroses, yeah, hallucinations and neuroses.
Yes. Maybe he, in the usual situation, I will put him in the hospital to take a neuroleptic or different medicine like this from the glutamate or. Yes. But we talk about Mars, and I think it's the both process. So he was so nervous, maybe he feel more than it was, but something really changed. But he was so fierce, so with good imagination, maybe something. Like yes. So I think it's both. So да, на этом и остановимся, что
Good point. Interesting.
оба процесса вероятны очень сильно. И хорошее воображение не всегда идет на пользу. Извините. Да.
Thank you, Ksusha. Thank you very much for such a scintillating answer and conversation, of course. Ruslan, what do you think about the processes that are revealed in the story? Changing colors, smells.
Plants, they took some minerals and chemicals they need from the earth. So if you plant them on Mars, maybe they can change in natural ways. I don't know anything about gardening, so I'm not sure. Changing of colors is pretty natural process. When plant is dying, it turns yellow and then brown. Maybe there is something like that.
Mm-hmm. So there is a process of death that occurs here, and we actually observe that. And yeah, the soil is
acclimatizing process.
Right. So the soil. Anastasia knows something about gardening and planting since she grew cucumbers, as I remember, and cucumbers were delicious, by the way. Tell us, Anastasia, what you think about the. Is it imaginary thing or is it a real thing that happens to the soil, to the agriculturally? Is it possible?
It's a real process that you can
Observe. You can
Yeah,
glance
you can
up. You can
observe.
glance at, or you can observe.
When the leaves turn yellow brown, you must use the special chemicals.
Chemical, you mean?
Already. chemical that Ruslan already said uh, to to help to help growing.
Mhm.
If you want more big,
If you want more and bigger plants, healthier
yeah,
plants,
yeah,
right? More
you
plants,
need to put on the soils the special
chemical.
улучшители.
Right. Guys, what you think? What word can we use here in English?
Fertilizer, maybe.
Right. You know the word, and I know how you know this word.
Improver.
Improver. Yeah.
Не
Fertilizer. Improver. Yeah, you have to.
Катализатор.
Catalyst. Yeah, you have to use some.
Catalyst.
You have to use a catalyst. Thank you very much. Thank you all for reading this and discussing. For the next discussion, you will need to read some more about cows, about other changes that happens with the family, bickering family, and the others, the Earthmen who came. Let's say page number 9, page number 10, page number 11 will do. And we will be left with 12, 13, 14, 15, oh gosh, 15, 19. So we have to read some more. I will give you more pages then. Let's say 5 pages. It's the maximum. If you can read the whole story, please do. Since I want to finish this story and I want you to read it as well, along with me, within 5 sessions, we almost have had 3, so we have only 2. Let's say you read up to page 15 to this wonderful, until this, you see this wonderful landscape here. And then we will read and talk some more. The last question for today is the provoking one. Why do you think we fear of atom bombs? Ruslan, you go first.
Why shouldn't we?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Atom bombs as a whole is a doomsday machine, and a lot of countries have it, and there are a lot of atom bombs in the world, enough to destroy a whole civilization several times. In one blast, all of our accomplishments as civilization can be erased by one decision of several people, maybe insane people, and what will be left from us, like piles of radioactive dust blown away by the wind, shadows on the walls, cities laying in ruins like broken bones, like in mass in the story. So we force this fear out of us, because if we fear atom bomb all the day, we quickly become insane persons, and there is not much we can do about it. It must be a decision of whole human civilization to get rid of atom bombs, and as we know, it is not happening very fast. So it is natural to fear things and creatures that can harm us in any way. Atom bomb will not only harm us, it will destroy us completely, and the people who will be alive after this, I think they can be considered unlucky ones.
Thank you, Ruslan. Thank you for your answer, and that is a very troubling thought. But this is, let's be realistic. This is one hell chance that it can happen actually, and we should be aware that it exists. Though we shouldn't be worried, because it's not a decision. It's not our decision to make. Maybe one day we will come to the point where together we can decide how to get rid of these things, of these machines. Atom energy, on the other hand, it gives us much, gives us enough. We know that it's dangerous to use, it's dangerous to harness, though it can be, used to explore and develop to improve our lives included. Complicated question. Why I bothered asking such a complicated question in the end? Why we bother with this? Thank you, Ruslan. Thank you very much. Ksusha, tell us what you think about atom bombs. Why do we fear them?
I agree with Ruslan. Why not? I I'm a Buddhist, and I understand that this is not the only life, but it's not means that I'm not afraid to be sick or to survive after the catastrophe and have to be alive to save myself, my family, or my friends, or my dogs. So just wake up in the apocalypse. I think it's the only fear I have because of this. So just recognize myself that I'm not in civilized world. I'm, like on Jurassic period or something like this, where the thousands of creatures who was people or they want, I can eat it or I can't. So I feel the fear every second I live. So I think it's urgent. It's it destroy myself. So I prefer to die fast than survive every time I can breathe. What?
I wish you can breathe the healthy and unlucky life, and you can live.
I hope that everything will be good. Yes.
Yeah, let's hope that people in charge, they are not only thoughtful but wise, and that they will find a solution how to get rid of, maybe not to get rid of that completely, but to control that. If they harness the energy of atom, then and it improves lives of many of us, and we live in the, let's say, you said that it's uncivilized. I agree with both of you. At the same time, I feel that it's a very dark place we are daring to go with these ideas. So let's not go deep enough into the rabbit hole, but let's be confident about our future, and I wish you all stay healthy and be healthy and stay sane in these challenging and difficult times. Anastasia, you are the last but not the least. Please give us some ideas, maybe some positive ones, but only what you think and what you want to say. We are not pushing you. Yes, we are pushing you. Give us some good ideas. These two, they are crazy. They give us very negative vibes. Jubies. Neggy vibes.
I think that atomic energy is very friendly for people, but it's despair to see how it changed to the weapon, and using this energy like weapon, I think is ruthlessly, senselessly, and inhumanly too. And I think we afraid of this because we already know how it's difficult to endure the consequences.
Yeah, to fix the consequences of our actions, and it can be dangerous. In wrong hands.
We're already going through it not so long time ago, and nobody wants to try it again.
People have, it seems that sometimes people have very short memory of things that happened. Hence the importance of learning and studying history. And it's a good argument that you remembered about Chernobyl catastrophe, that we should remember such things, and we should be aware that we must be very careful.
And I think it's very wild to afraid somebody of the atomic bomb because it was so near Ukraine and Russia, and запугивать.
Yeah, it's used not only as a weapon but as a tool. Yeah, as a tool to intimidate and to scare away your.
It's a dirty reception.
It's a dirty trick, and it's a dirty method. Still, people use it because there are at least what they told us during the history classes that during the bipolar world, and the world used to be, and it seems like it still is the bipolar one. There are two main camps with both bear atom energy, and they can use this atom energy whenever they like, and if they can use it, they can intimidate each other. And by this, it's a very thin ice that they are walking. It's like the balance that they have to keep. Like, we intimidate you because we have weapons, and if you come close to us, we will use the weapons. At the same time, they can say the same because we have weapons too, and we can use them if you dare to try. And it's like this game. I shouldn't call it the game of truth and dare, but it's like truth or dare. Would I use the atom bomb on you or not? Dare, like try me this time. We've been playing it for a very long time, and I share the hopes with all of you that one day, I hope that one day we will get rid of this, or at least find a way how to use it carefully, thoughtfully, mindfully, and without being careless. Because with such things as atom power, we cannot be careless, never. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. That's been an interesting one, and you talked through the whole class. Congratulations. I'm clapping right now with my tiny hands here. So congratulations. Thank you for staying in tune. Yay, thank you for coming. Спасибо, что пришли, да. Спасибо, что пришли, спасибо, что говорили. На самом деле было здорово, то есть цель была того, чтобы вы говорили как можно больше, и мне кажется, вы справились. По крайней мере, я надеюсь, что вы чувствуете себя лучше, уверенно в себе, да, чувствуете себя уверенно, говоря на других языках, и на своем родном тоже. Спасибо вам за то, что обсуждали такие сложные темы сегодня, и вы совершили большой прогресс. Читайте рассказ как можно больше, как я сказал уже, до страницы 15. Я напишу об этом еще в Дискорде. И если понадобятся какие-то материалы дополнительные, да, пишите или звоните. Не знаю, что хотите, делайте. В общем, материалов достаточно по поводу книги. И в книге в самой, кстати говоря, в этой есть много разного интересного, что мы можем еще обсудить. Поэтому не переключайтесь. Увидимся в следующее воскресенье. Надеюсь, без атомных бомб. Спасибо вам. DreamTeam и Алан Ягодин. Пока-пока.
Всем спасибо, пока.
Пока.